This May 2026 weather forecast covers 4 separate events happening at once, and most of America has no idea all 4 of them apply where they live. The El Nino index swung 1.4 degrees Celsius in 4 months faster than what we tracked heading into the strongest El Nino ever recorded, and 1.7 million wildfire acres this spring, says the stakes are real. And somewhere tonight in Pittsburgh, a retired teacher named Sandra is planting tomatoes in her backyard, not knowing a rare May Arctic blast is targeting her city for May 10th. Sandra does not know yet, but after this weather update, she will, and so will you. Stay with me because at the 7-minute mark, I will show you genuine drought relief news across the South we have not been able to report in over 2 years. And stick around through the end because there is a longer range May 2026 weather pattern that goes all the way to Mother's Day weekend and affects every single region differently. Straight talk from me this Sunday morning. This is one of the most layered weather forecast situations I have covered, with 4 completely different stories happening at once. We are going to take them one at a time, and I am going to make sure you walk away knowing exactly what applies to your city. Let's start with today's weather update, Sunday, May 3rd, because compared to what we just went through all week, today is a genuinely different kind of day. The national severe weather picture has dialed way back. Most of the country is seeing its quietest back-to-back day since mid-April. Folks, that is flat out earned. The Storm Prediction Center has only a marginal risk today, level 1 out of 5, for portions of northern and central Missouri and southern Illinois. Kansas City, St. Louis, Springfield, and the Ozarks of Missouri. Your concern window is this afternoon into early evening, where an isolated strong storm is possible. The key word is isolated. Not everybody in Missouri or southern Illinois will see a severe thunderstorm today. This is a heads up, not a major outbreak alert. Chicago, you are on the northern fringe of that marginal risk zone today, with wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour possible as that boundary lifts through. Down along the Gulf Coast, Houston, New Orleans, and coastal Louisiana are still dealing with lingering heavy rain, and the flooding concern has not fully cleared. Turn around, don't drown. Even on a quieter, severe weather day, moving water is dangerous, and flash flooding does not care that the main threat has dropped. Now, I want to come back to Sandra in Pittsburgh for a second, because her situation matters to every gardener and farmer watching right now. Sandra has been working that same backyard for 22 years. She planted her tomatoes and peppers 2 weeks ago, when it finally felt like spring had arrived for good. What Sandra does not know is that May 10th through 12th is showing a rare May Arctic blast temperatures in the 30s, wind chills in the 20s, second week of May. 20-degree wind chills in the second week of May in Pittsburgh. That is mid-March temperatures arriving in what should be the heart of spring. Sandra and everyone like her from Cleveland, Buffalo, and Boston all the way through New York City and Philadelphia, please cover those plants tonight. But before we get to that Arctic blast, there is significant severe weather to navigate first, and this is where the May 2026 weather forecast gets genuinely serious. The window forecasters are most focused on right now is Tuesday, May 6th through Thursday, May 8th, a 3-day severe weather sequence hitting different regions on each day. Now here is where I need you to pay close attention because the pattern setting up for Wednesday is something experienced meteorologists are watching very carefully. I am not naming all the cities yet, hear the setup first, but there is a corridor where Wednesday, May 7th could be the biggest severe weather outbreak of this spring. Monday, May 4th is not a quiet day, but it is more of a low-end opening act for what builds through the rest of the week. Dew points only in the mid-50s on Monday, shallow moisture return, which signals a lower ceiling for severe thunderstorm intensity. The Kansas City area, Springfield, St. Louis, Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, Toledo, Cleveland, and Detroit are all in the picture Monday for scattered severe storm development. The primary threat Monday is damaging winds and hail. The tornado threat should be low. Think of Monday as the atmosphere warming up before the real show. Milwaukee and Chicago, you also see some breezy and unsettled conditions Monday as that front continues pressing south, not a major severe weather threat, but worth knowing. By Tuesday, May 5th, that cold front extends further south, and the moisture picture improves dramatically, dew points climbing into the lower 60s across Texas and Arkansas. The severe weather threat Tuesday stretches from Dallas-Fort Worth northeastward through Little Rock and into the mid-Mississippi Valley, a real outbreak risk developing. Tuesday gives us a heightened severe weather day compared to Monday, and better instability in Texas and Arkansas means storms can become organized and impactful. Oklahoma City, Tulsa, and the Southern Plains, y'all are back in the Tuesday corridor again, and after everything this spring has handed you, I know you are worn down. Memphis and Nashville, you are watching Tuesday closely too. Because as that line of storms tracks northeast Tuesday evening, the Tennessee Valley comes back into play. Wednesday, May 7th. This is the day with the most attention in this May 2026 weather forecast, the signal I told you about at the very top. The severe weather corridor on Wednesday potentially stretches from Michigan all the way back through Louisiana and into the Carolinas, over 1,000 miles of severe weather threats. Houston, Tyler, Waco, Shreveport, Monroe, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Jackson, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Huntsville. You're all in the Wednesday picture. Memphis, Nashville, and the entire Tennessee Valley Wednesday is your day to watch. The moisture and shear setup for that region on Wednesday is genuinely impressive. And good grief, dew points reaching the upper 60s along the I-35 corridor east through Louisiana and Mississippi is the fuel for an organized severe weather outbreak. Wednesday is the biggest day of this sequence, and the threat includes what forecasters call discrete storm mode individual supercells that can each produce a significant tornado. Charlotte, Raleigh, and the Carolinas, you're not off the hook Wednesday as the trailing edge pushes precipitation and severe weather risk into your area. Get your shelter plan locked and loaded before Tuesday night. Know your safe room where the kids will be and have an alert that wakes you up if you are asleep. And as this system moves east, it also brings beneficial rainfall that is contributing to wildfire recovery across parts of the Carolinas and Mid-Atlantic. For the Northeast, that same storm brings a significant weather event, heavy rain and strong winds from the Mid-Atlantic through New England as the low deepens near eastern Canada. A 978 millibar low near powerful nor'easter pressure is possible near eastern Canada by Friday, and that brings widespread wind and rain impacts from Pennsylvania to Maine. New York City, Philadelphia, and Boston Thursday afternoon and evening is your window to watch for gusty winds and heavy rain as that low tracks northeast. Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and Richmond, you're in the Thursday picture too, with rain and gusty winds making this a day to keep your weather app close. For mobile home residents anywhere across the south-central U.S., the Deep South, and the Tennessee Valley, I need you to hear this clearly. A mobile home is not safe in severe thunderstorm conditions. Full stop. Get your off-site shelter identified this weekend while things are still calm. Right here, before we go any further into this May 2026 weather forecast, I want to know where you're watching from. And wherever you are in the Tuesday severe weather zone, Wednesday Deep South, or watching Thursday approach from New England, your preparation window is this weekend. Plain and simple, the best shelter plan you will ever have is the one you make before the storm arrives, not the one you scramble for Tuesday night. I think about someone like Bob, a 71-year-old retired farmer outside Clarksville, Tennessee, who knows this stretch of river bottom better than any weather model does. Bob told his neighbor this week that the sky has been acting restless that every time it quiets down, it seems to be gathering itself for another run. Bob is not wrong. The models are saying the exact same thing in a different language. Bob is not wrong. The severe weather models and the El Nino drought recovery data are both saying the same thing in different language. Drop your city in the comments below right now. Whether you are in the Tuesday corridor, Wednesday Deep South, or the Thursday Northeast window, tell me where you are. I check comments all day long, and if your city ends up under a warning Tuesday through Thursday, I will come back with a specific weather update for you. Now let's zoom out to the bigger weather story that comes after Thursday, because what hits behind this storm sequence is something genuinely unusual for this time of year. The Arctic blast arriving May 10th through 12th is not a minor cold snap. Temperatures in the 30s across the Great Lakes and Northeast, wind chills in the 20s, Atlanta in the 50s, the Deep South in the 60s, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Buffalo, Boston, and New York City all potentially seeing frost and freeze in the second week of May, Milwaukee, Minneapolis, Chicago, and Detroit. You're in the heart of this cold air mass, with overnight lows possibly flirting with the upper 20s May 10th through 12th. This is mid-March weather arriving in the middle of spring, and both the European model and the GFS are in strong agreement that it arrives and sticks around. The pattern driving this is a positive PNA, a ridge locked along the west coast directing the polar jet south and funneling repeated Arctic shots into the eastern states. That pattern does not break until close to May 15th from now until then, with only a brief Monday-Tuesday warm-up. This is one of the coldest starts to May in years. For every gardener, farmer, and backyard grower watching right now, this part of the forecast is for you, plain and simple. If you have tomatoes, peppers, basil, or any warm season plants in the ground right now, cover them tonight. Cover them every night through the middle of next week. One hard freeze night destroys weeks of growth. The plants do not care that it is May. That second Arctic blast is coming whether the calendar agrees or not. And that brief warm-up on Monday and Tuesday is going to feel like summer finally arrived. Do not let it fool you. The cold comes right back behind it. All right, here's the moment I promised you at the very top, the Pacific Ocean story that puts everything else in this May 2026 weather forecast into context. The El Nino index, I will use both spellings since people search it both ways. El Nino and El Nino just hit positive 0.6 on the Oceanic Nino index. Back in January of this year, that same index was sitting at negative 0.7 solidly in La Nina territory. Today it is at positive 0.6. That is a swing of 1.4 degrees Celsius in roughly 4 months. Now let me give you the historical comparison, because this is where the data genuinely stops you cold. During the strong El Nino in 2015, one of the most powerful ever recorded, the swing over that same January to May window was only about 0.6 degrees. During the record-breaking 1997 El Nino, the strongest El Nino of the 20th century, the swing was about 1.2 degrees. We are tracking at 1.4 degrees of warming over that same window. That is faster than 1997, faster than the strongest El Nino ever recorded at this point in the year. And paired with that, a massive Kelvin wave has already crossed the Pacific and is approaching South America, meaning El Nino development is not slowing down. The Ensemble Guidance projects a potential peak near positive 2.5 on the index, which would place this El Nino event in the top 3 to 5 strongest ever recorded. I want to be careful about certainty. We are still weeks from El Nino's official arrival and months from its peak. But the data trajectory is genuinely extraordinary. Now here is the genuine good news I promised you, and I want to be clear, this is real good news, not me just trying to balance the forecast. Over 1.7 million acres have burned in wildfires this spring, and the rainfall arriving right now is landing on some of the most drought-stressed soil in the country. 3 to 5 inches of rain are possible across southeast Texas into Louisiana from this system, exactly the wildfire and drought relief these areas have desperately needed. Texas, Georgia, Mississippi, Alabama, the Florida Panhandle, and South Carolina, every inch of rain falling there right now is genuine drought relief 2 years in the making. The subtropical jet stream, the atmospheric highway that El Nino drives, is already waking up and delivering wave after wave of moisture to these drought and wildfire-affected areas. Both the European Ensemble and the GFS are in strong agreement on above-average precipitation from New Mexico and Texas east through the Gulf states and up into the Tennessee Valley. The first 2 weeks of May alone could put a meaningful dent in a drought footprint that has been building for over 2 years, folks. That is genuinely significant. And this is just the beginning, as El Nino continues to develop. The NWS and Climate Prediction Center outlook for continued beneficial rain across the south and southeast is favorable. Looking ahead toward Mother's Day weekend, May 10th through 12th here, is how the May 2026 weather pattern breaks down by region. For the Plains, Rockies, and West Coast, you start warming significantly toward mid-May. If you are west of the Mississippi, your warm-up arrives before Mother's Day. If you are east of the Mississippi Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, Northeast, Mid-Atlantic, Southeast, Gulf Coast, cooler, then normal temperatures persist through Mother's Day weekend. The wet pattern along the Gulf Coast and up the East Coast continues through Mother's Day, great drought relief for the South, but plan around it for outdoor celebrations. There is also a low-end severe weather system forming around May 9th. Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, and East Texas could see another round of storm risk. Details are subject to change at 10 days out, but I want it on your radar now so it is not a surprise when the NWS outlooks tighten up. And briefly, May 1st officially marked the start of the Eastern Pacific hurricane season, and the El Nino development we just walked through has major implications for tropical weather. Warm water in the Gulf and Caribbean is already above average, and the NWS and National Hurricane Center will be monitoring closely as the Atlantic season opens June 1st. Here's the flat-out straight weather forecast action plan for the week ahead, broken down by where you live. If you are in Missouri, Southern Illinois, or the Ohio Valley, Monday and Tuesday are your concern days. Damaging winds and hail primary. Tornado threat is low but non-zero. If you're in Texas, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, or the Tennessee Valley, Wednesday is your main event. Severe weather outbreak possible. Get your plan done this weekend. If you are in the Carolinas, Virginia, the Mid-Atlantic, or anywhere along I-95 from Washington, D.C. through Philadelphia, New York, and Boston, Thursday is your day. If you have plants in the ground anywhere from the Midwest through the Northeast, cover them tonight and every night through May 15th. The second Arctic blast is not optional. No matter where you are, charge your phone, turn on your NWS weather alerts, and know the difference between a watch and a warning before Tuesday afternoon. Let me leave you with this because it matters more than any single storm or any single weather update. We opened this May 2026 weather forecast with 3 facts: El Nino tracking faster than 1997 1.7 million wildfire acres, and Sandra planting into the path of a May Arctic blast. None of those are random, none are exaggerated. They are all pieces of the same pattern not done with American weather for the rest of 2026. I think about Sandra in Pittsburgh, covering her tomatoes tonight with information she now has, doing everything right because she got the heads up in time. And I think about Bob outside Clarksville, watching that restless sky and knowing the way 71 years of farming teaches you that this pattern has one more thing to say. Those two people are who we do this for, getting accurate weather information to real Americans while there is still time to use it. Do me a solid right now if you know somebody in Memphis, Nashville, Birmingham, Charlotte, or anywhere in the Wednesday or Thursday impact zones, send this to them today. A heads up from someone they actually trust is worth 10 push notifications they're going to swipe away without reading. And if you have not dropped your city in the comments yet, do it now, and tell me what your sky looks like right now. Tell me how much rain you picked up this week, whether you're seeing wildfire or drought improvement, and which day of next week's severe weather concerns you most. We are going to be tracking every model run, every NWS and SPC update, and every development in this pattern all week long. Turn on your notifications so you do not miss a single weather update. Tuesday through Thursday is going to move fast, and the timing details matter a great deal. This story is not finished. El Nino is still building, the cold is still coming, and the severe weather window is still open. We will be right here every step of the way.